Welcome back to the David Pakman Show. Joining me is Adam Tragone, managing editor of Human Events. Adam, always great to get a conservative perspective. We've been watching, during my vacation, I was watching Mitt Romney's, well, it really wasn't a vacation at all. He was in Europe and he was committing what I consider to be gaffe after embarrassing gaffe. I'm wondering, what's the conservative perspective on this trip that Mitt Romney made? I mean, when you see the comment about London being ready and then how that went over with the Prime Minister, or him talking about how great the Israeli healthcare system is for all the reasons that he dislikes Obamacare, which of course is somewhat based on Romney care when we go up the ladder. What do conservatives think about it? I mean, I'll just keep it open and see what you have to say.
I think, David, it's sort of mixed. I think there are there's many people, I guess, I shouldn't say several, there's many people that feel that Mitt Romney's tour of Europe was positive, and there were a lot of
Is that
things
right?
that he did right. I think, several have said that what he said in regard to the London Olympics were him just quoting things that he read in the British press. I personally don't believe the things that he said on the whole throughout the whole trip were bad. I wouldn't have done that, though, when it came to doing it as a first trip over to Europe. I don't. It didn't come off as well as he'd like to, but this is not foreign to Mitt Romney. He has been gaffe prone from the outset of this campaign. A better choice of words would have been better, especially since this was his first trip abroad as the Republican presidential nominee.
Yeah,
So,
I'll say. I mean, as far as if he was just quoting something he had no knowledge of but read somewhere, that's still pretty bad for a presidential candidate to be doing, right? I mean, we could be critical of him for reciting stuff he read.
yeah, absolutely. If that's sort of similar if you were, invited over to someone's house for dinner and you're criticizing the food.
Right.
You know, yes, what he said was, he was concerned about security. Everyone's concerned about security, but I don't believe that it was the most apt or smart thing to do, based on the fact that this is his first trip abroad as the Republican nominee, to be criticizing, or at least leaving it open for criticism and questioning the security of the London security forces in regard to the Olympics.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. On this topic of the tax returns, right? We've been going back and forth for a while now. I'm kind of sick of even talking about his tax returns, but I am interested in what will eventually happen and kind of the conservative reaction to the Harry Reid claim that someone from Bain told him that there were 10 years where Romney didn't pay any taxes. I'm starting to get the sense, and correct me if I'm wrong, that even many on the right want Romney to just put the tax returns out, not necessarily because they think it's his duty, but because they want to just get the conversation over with. What do you think?
I think that's right, David, to a certain degree, but I would be in the camp that says, if Harry Reid is unwilling to release his tax returns, which he said he is and doesn't plan on it, I don't understand why Mitt Romney has to.
But hold on a second there. We have to question that, because that's like saying, hey, listen, when the Romney side said Teresa Hines didn't release her tax returns, what about that? But she's not running for president. Harry Reid's not running for president, right? I mean, we have to at least compare it to people running for president.
Well, certainly, that attack in '04 was unwarranted, I thought, because Teresa Hines Carey, all of her assets were tied up into trusts and things like that with her former husband, Senator John Hines. So I don't think that was a fair attack from Republicans back then.
Yeah, but what about Harry Reid? I mean, he's not running for president. Why does what Romney does have anything to do with what Harry Reid does?
I don't think it does, and I don't think Harry Reid probably should be saying anything in regards to the tax returns. And this has been a tactic for a long time on both sides to release tax returns, because George Romney being the first, I personally don't understand as a voter what releasing the tax returns does or does not do. I haven't seen polling whether or not people will vote one way or another if someone releases their tax returns when running for office. My concern, I guess, is for Romney is there's something in there that he obviously doesn't want to see, whether or not it's he hasn't been paying at a tax rate he should be through, the tax code inherent in the openings and the loopholes inherent in the tax code for many people who have investments abroad to sort of skirt paying a larger rate.
Well, I think that's the issue, right? I mean, it's not about. We're going to talk to Scott Keeter, director of survey research at Pew Research Center tomorrow, and we'll ask him whether we have any polling about the tax returns. But I think it's more about what the tax returns will show. I mean, let's be honest. Mitt Romney is on the record saying corporations are people, and he doesn't think corporations should pay taxes. So it stands to reason by basic A equals B, B equals C, that maybe he doesn't think some people should pay taxes either. I think what's in there is really what's the big risk for the Romney campaign.
It seems like there is. If you're unwilling to release at least 1 year, which Ronald Reagan was willing to do in 1980, certainly you'd be able to find something that, if 1 year is a problem, then certainly a decade or what have you is even worse. I don't see the need of releasing it for the sole reason of, is that really going to change people's minds of this guy? Because he's already been, labeled as someone that is extremely rich, which he is. I don't foresee why changing or releasing the tax returns changes votes one way or another.
Well, I think the way it does is if it does turn out that maybe he paid incredibly low or no taxes for several years, and then people say, wait a second, this guy paid almost no taxes and part of his plan is to give himself a further tax cut, I think that's the way it would affect votes.
It very well could, but I think I think a lot of people would, at least I would think, would say that, well, that is inherent in the tax code. This leaves it up for discussion that the tax code needs to be reformed, because everyone can take advantage of all these opportunities to skirt paying a larger rate.
Well, if you can afford a good enough accountant.
Maybe, but I mean, if the opportunity is there, people will find a way.
Okay, and last thing, we have a limited time here. What's your updated prediction on a vice presidential pick?
My prediction is it's still Rob Portman's to lose at this point, the senator from Ohio. I don't foresee much of a surprise. I think Romney will keep it close to the vest, as he's always said he wants to have someone in the vice president role that can certainly take the reins as president. And Portman is seemingly enough to be, pretty steadfast, even keel, and could jump into the role of president if need be. My concern, and many conservatives' concern, is the fact that Rob Portman served under George W. Bush as U.S. Trade Rep and as budget director. So that could mean more big spending ideas from Rob Portman or from Republicans. But conversely, I have heard sources say that Portman is excited at the opportunity to sort of clear his record as someone that was in a big government administration, big spending, big government program, Republican administration. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Rob Portman is vice president, named as the nominee. But my money is on him right now, David.
All right, and certainly a Portman-Biden debate would be a big effing deal. I would definitely want to keep an eye on that. Adam Tragone, managing editor of Human Events. Thanks as always, Adam.
Thank you, David.
All right, let's take a break. We'll be back with plenty more. Stay tuned.